Okay, welcome back. Today is Thursday, May 14th. Before you start today's lesson, please make sure you have completed day 18's assignment, these 6 questions right here. We're still working on geometric sequences, but today we're going to be focusing mainly on the geometric sequence formula. So everything we do today is going to be in your notes. So once again, if it says in your notes at the top right, you are to write them down in your notes. And there will be no assignment today, just a day of notes. Tomorrow will be your assignment about the geometric sequence formula. So here is the formula to write a geometric sequence. I've color-coded it where a sub 1 and r are going to be replaced with numbers. A sub 1 is the first term and r is the common ratio. So r is that number that you're either multiplying or dividing by. So once again, everything we do today in your notes, copy this down. We only have 4 examples to go through. What you're always going to do first is write down the geometric sequence formula. And then from there, you're going to find out the missing pieces. So once again, I have color coded. So the first thing you're going to find is what a sub 1 is. Remember, a sub 1 is your first term. So your first term in this specific sequence is 1. And then the next thing we need to find out is what that common ratio is. So that is from yesterday's lesson or 2 days ago lesson. So you're going to think to yourself, how do I get from 1 to 5 by multiplying or dividing? We're not doing adding or subtracting. Remember, this is a geometric sequence. So 1 times 5 is 5, and then make sure it keeps working. 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. So therefore, our r is 5. From there, you're going to replace a sub 1 with 1, and you're going to replace r with 5, and you're going to rewrite the formula just like is showing. And that is your first part of the answer. So it says write a rule for the sequence. This is our rule. And now we need to find what a sub 6 is. So what I did here is I replaced the n's with 6. So this says a sub n. It's asking me to find a sub 6. So it's pretty easy to see that I'm going to replace n with 6. So here I'm going to replace this n also with 6. And I'm just going to simplify. So what I did next is I did 6 minus 1 is 5. Now all I have to do is just type this into the calculator exactly as it looks. And that's going to give me that a sub 6 is equal to 3,125. And that's your final answer, your 2 pieces. Okay, number 2, we are at a new sequence. First step, always rewrite the formula. A sub 1 is the easiest one to find. Remember, that's your first term. Your first term is 130. And our ratio now, you have to look, okay, I'm going from 130 to 65. My numbers are getting smaller, so therefore I need to be dividing by something. So just try like 130 divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4. See which one gives you 65. What you would find out is that we are dividing by 2 each time to get to the next piece, the next number in the term, in the sequence. So that means that my r is not 2, my r is 1/2. Remember, if we're dividing, we are going to be multiplying by the fraction. So remember, you're always just going to put a 1 on top of whatever that number is. So r is 1/2. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace a 1 with 130, and we're going to replace r with 1/2 to rewrite our formula. So there is our geometric formula. And then that is our rule for the sequence. Now what we have to do is find what a sub 6 is. So just like we did before, we replaced n with 6. And then I simplified. So what I did is I replaced n with 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. Then I typed this right here into the calculator. Let me show you what it looks like to type it in the calculator. So make sure you use the Desmos scientific calculator. And it was 130 times 1/2 to the 5th power. So we're going to type in 130 times, parentheses, 1 divided by 5, close the parentheses, raised to the 5th power. Hit enter, and then hit that button to make it into a fraction. 130 times 1/2, that's why. Okay, I need to change this to a 1/2. There we go. So we get 65 over 16 is our final answer. A sub 6 is 65 over 16. 2 more examples to go through. Write down those examples and then fill this out in your notes so you can use it for your assignment tomorrow. Okay, so the next, number 3, first thing you're going to do, write the formula down. A1 is 2, A1 is your first term. Now we need to figure out what that rate is, or that ratio. So 2 times what gives me -8? That would be -4. So therefore our R is -4. And now we're going to replace 2 in for A sub 1, and we're going to replace -4 in for R to write our formula, or our sequence, our rule. That is our rule. And now, just like before, we're going to find what A sub 6 is. So we're going to replace n with 6 and simplify. So we get 2 times -1/4 raised to the 5th power. Just 6 minus 1 is 5. Plug this in the calculator exactly as it looks. Make sure you use a parenthesis. If you don't use a parenthesis, it's going to give you a different answer. So therefore, A sub 6 is -2048. Last example, we have a new sequence. We'll write our geometric sequence formula first. A sub 1 is our first term. R is going to be 3 because 8 times 3 is 24. 24 times 3 is 72, and so on. We're going to replace our A sub 1 with 8 and our R with 3. And there is our rule. And then we're going to find what A sub 6 is by replacing n with 6. That means that we have 8 times 3 to the 5th power. Put it in the calculator just exactly as it looks, including those parentheses. And we're going to get A sub 6 is 1,944. That is the last example for the lesson today. Tomorrow I'm asking you to do these 4 questions. Make sure you use your notes from today to do tomorrow's lesson. And I will see you next week.